Welcome to the majestic Hampton Court Palace. One of the first things we noticed was this gorgeous wildflower garden, and actually a lot of the royal palaces seem to be having at least a few spaces of wild growth, which is absolutely gorgeous. And you could also walk through it and take pictures and see the wildlife. The original Tudor Hampton Court Palace was begun by Cardinal Wolsey in the early 16th century, but it soon attracted the attention of Henry VIII, who brought all his 6 wives here. Surrounded by gorgeous gardens, such as the Maze and the Grapevine, the palace has been the setting for many nationally important events. I absolutely love the main frontage of Hampton Court Palace, and it always takes my breath away. This is the second time that I've been here, and it always has an impact. When William III and Mary II took to the throne in 1689, they commissioned Sir Christopher Wren to build an elegant new Baroque palace. Later, Georgian kings and princes occupied the splendid interiors. When the royals left in 1737, impoverished grace and favour aristocrats moved in. Queen Victoria opened the palace to the public in 1838. It has remained a magnet for millions of visitors drawn to the grandeur, the ghosts and the fabulous art collection. Welcome to the Great Kitchens. Up to 800 courtiers would accompany Henry VIII, all needing to be fed. The king enlarged and added to the existing Great Kitchen, built in the late 1400s by a former resident, Lord Daubeny. The kitchens became an efficient food factory, serving 1,600 meals a day. It was so easy, whilst walking through these amazing rooms, to be able to imagine them full with people, the hustle, the bustle, the many aspects of history, the many stories, and the lives that have happened during these times. It's also hard to imagine that little children would also have worked down here in these kitchens that smell of damp and moist. We found these corridors so dark and eerie. They actually are a lot darker when you're there in person. And we both said back in those days they would have been much darker because they wouldn't have the electric lighting that we had. A rabbit warren of many corridors leading to many different places. Considering the amount of food that they were constantly serving, they also had to keep these huge wine cellars well stocked. We're just having a cappuccino because it's a bit overwhelming here. We came about 10 o'clock and literally everyone's here and it's rammed. So we're just working our way through the privy, the kitchens, the storage room, and we're just in this little coffee area here. But the front of it is all ruined because they've got some kind of a show on. I think it's next weekend, isn't it? And they've parked all their Arctics at the front of it. So when you walk in, you know that view you get of the Hampton Court Palace? Gone.
We were going to put the view in the video. We took it last night, but unfortunately Claire took it for Instagram, not for this. So it'll be the wrong shape, but it'll be fine.
We'll put it on, because what I do now is Gary does the YouTube, and I do all the stuff for Instagram and TikTok, and I filmed it for Instagram.
And the executive decision was we left it last night, which was a very bad executive decision.
Yeah.
Which I'm blaming Claire.
Anyway, cheers.
Yeah, let's have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
This area around Fountain Court was filled with kitchens and rooms for preparing and serving the finest of foods. Nearby were the confectionery, making elegant sweet items, and the spicery, where precious spices were prepared and stored. Welcome to the chocolate kitchen. This rare and surviving chocolate kitchen was where chocolate was made by Thomas Toyser, personal chocolate maker to King George I, who reigned 1714 to 1727, and George II, who reigned 17th of the 27th, 1760. Chocolate was a luxury. Far more expensive than tea or coffee, it was laced with exotic spices, served in gold and silver chocolate pots, and drunk from porcelain cups. Chocolate was the fashionable drink of the time. The rich and famous gathered in the smartest areas of towns and cities to drink chocolate. One of the most glamorous chocolate houses was run by Thomas Toyser's wife in Greenwich.
Welcome to Clock Court, which is also known as Anne Boleyn's Gate, after Henry's second wife. Work was still underway on Anne Boleyn's apartments above the gate when Boleyn was beheaded, and you can't help but stand here and be transported back to that bygone era. Entrance to the Great Hall. Each of Henry's 6 wives left their mark on this palace. Just before you enter the Great Hall, above the archway on your left, you can see the pomegranate emblem of Henry's first wife, Catherine of Aragon. In 1533, Anne Boleyn was crowned Queen of England, already pregnant with what she hoped would be a son. Anne inspected the newly built Hampton Court Palace with her husband, King Henry VIII. The Great Hall became the stage for extravagant celebrations and court entertainments. The centrepiece of Henry VIII's palace was the Great Hall, designed to overawe visitors. Behind the splendour, some resented Anne's triumph. Supporters of the true Queen, Catherine of Aragon, and rival families like the Seymours plotted her fall. 3 years later, Anne had only provided Henry with a daughter, Princess Elizabeth, not the son and heir he demanded. The marriage failed, and the king ordered Anne's execution at the Tower of London. This room was decorated to celebrate Henry's third Queen, Jane Seymour. Her family's arms and badge, a phoenix rising from a castle, were set all over the ceiling. Most of the fragile leather mache roundels, like with this Tudor rose, were replaced with copies in the 19th century. However, if you look carefully in the mirror, you can see a few originals remain. Jane spent the final weeks of her pregnancy at Hampton Court in 1537 and died here after giving birth to Prince Edward. The walls of the Chapel Royal were covered with black cloth while services were performed to mourn the Queen. In 1537, courtiers waited or watched in this room, anxious for news about Queen Jane and the hope for birth of a son and heir for the king. The doors on your right once led to the king and queen's private apartments. After emerging from his private apartments, the pious Henry VIII would process to the Chapel Royal, where he would attend prayers and services several times a day. It was on such an occasion as this that Catherine Howard first caught the attention of the king. After Jane Seymour's death, Henry VIII's councillors searched for a new queen. In 1540, the king married Anne of Cleves, a German princess he had never met. Henry preferred to choose his own wives. Nearly 50 years old, the king was besotted with the teenaged Catherine Howard. Henry demanded a divorce from Anne, who tactfully agreed, freeing him to marry Catherine. In 2 years, Henry VIII's fifth marriage failed. Catherine was accused of adultery. The king's anger was remarkable. His councillors thought he had gone mad. On the 12th of November 1541, Catherine was arrested at Hampton Court. She did not see the king again and was executed at the Tower of London. On the 12th of July 1543, Henry VIII married his sixth wife at Hampton Court. Catherine Parr was 31 years old, twice married before and blessed with experience and tact, essential qualities for supporting the ailing king. Catherine became stepmother to the king's 3 children. Through her influence, Mary, the daughter of Catherine of Aragon, and Elizabeth, the daughter of Anne Boleyn, were restored to the royal household despite their mothers' tarnished reputations. Catherine had enemies at court. In 1546, because of her support for the Protestant reform, they accused her of heresy. In a dramatic encounter, Catherine threw herself on the king's mercy and was forgiven. Henry died a year later. After the Restoration, King Charles II and his successor, James II, visited Hampton Court, but largely preferred to reside elsewhere. By current French court standards, Hampton Court now appeared old-fashioned. In 1689, shortly after Louis XIV's court had permanently moved to Versailles, that the palace's antiquated state was addressed. England had joint monarchs, William III and Mary II. Within months of their accession, they embarked on a massive rebuilding project at Hampton Court. The intention was to demolish the Tudor palace a section at a time while replacing it with a huge modern palace in the Baroque style, retaining only Henry VIII's great home. When we found this out, it absolutely blew our minds, because where we are now as a society, we're desperate for all evidence of Henry VIII and his palaces, and to think that this has just been destroyed as if by magic, never to be seen again. The new wings around the Fountain Court contained new state apartments and private rooms, one set for the king and one set for the queen. Each suite of staterooms was accessed by a state staircase. In 1986, the palace was damaged by a major fire which spread to the king's apartments. The fire claimed the life of Lady Daphne Gale, widow of General Sir Richard Gale, who resided in a grace and favour apartment. She was in the habit of taking a lighted candle to her bedroom at night, which is thought to have started the fire. The Hampton Court fire led to a new programme of restoration work, which was completed in 1990.
Welcome to the entrance to the Georgian apartments, the Queen's Staircase. The Queen's Staircase, part of the new Palace of Hampton Court, designed by the architect Sir Christopher Wren for William III and Mary II. Mary II died in 1694 before the Queen's apartments has been furnished. In fact, the Queen's Staircase was not decorated until 1734-35, when these rooms were finally completed for Queen Caroline, consort to George II. Architect and artist William Kent decorated this staircase to create an impressive counterpart to the King's Staircase on the opposite side of Fountain Court. The painting in the centre of Kent's scheme is an earlier work of 1628 by Dutch artist Garant van Huythorst. When Elizabeth I died childless in 1603, the English crown passed to the nearest male relative, King James of Scotland. The Stuarts ruled for 4 generations, but in 1714 Queen Anne died without an heir. Anne signed the Act of Settlement, nominating her Hanoverian cousins as the new British royal dynasty. The previous century had seen wars of religion fought across Europe between Catholic and Protestant monarchies. The Act of Settlement of 1701 disqualified any Roman Catholic or anyone who married one from inheriting the British throne. George I became king in 1714 at the age of 54. He brought with him to England his son, the future George II, and his daughter-in-law, Caroline of Ansbach. George I's main contribution to the palace was to build an impressive suite of rooms for his son George, Prince of Wales, and his wife Princess Caroline. The king also commissioned a new kitchen, today known as the Georgian house. When George I returned in summers to his native Hanover, he agreed reluctantly for the prince and princess to represent him in England. He created two rival courts, with the two Georges constantly trying to outdo each other. In fact, George I spent the summers of 1717 and 1718 at Hampton Court on a campaign to outshine his son in court. The king would dine in public twice weekly before his courtiers and sometimes invite those in favour to eat with him. When the king was abroad, courtiers, dignitaries and ambassadors would wait in the privy chamber for an audience with the prince and princess. The drawing room held a weekly occasion where lucky courtiers would meet with the king or prince and princess. On Sunday afternoons, it was a formal occasion. Courtiers would stand in a circle, and those in favour, the George I or the royal couple, spoke to them. Music was an important part of life at court for Queen Caroline. Leading musicians of the day were invited to play to entertain courtiers at the palace and give music lessons to the children of the royal family. The Prince and Princess of Wales completed this opulent bedchamber in 1715 to receive leading courtiers at the morning ceremony called the levee. 2 years after James Thornhill painted the royal family's portraits on the ceiling, a monumental row between the king and the prince resulted in George I banishing the prince and princess from his palaces and cruelly separating them from their children. Courtiers who chose to side with the prince and princess as court were no longer welcome at the king's court. The last room in the state apartment was normally a private space, used by the royal family for exercise, entertainment or for private conversation. First Minister Robert Walpole and Princess Caroline were instrumental in persuading the prince to apologise to George I. 3 years after the argument, the prince and princess were finally allowed back into the king's court.
We're now going to head under this arch out into the Great Fountain Garden, which is one of the iconic views of Hampton Court Palace. Privy Garden and the Thames. Monarchs have always prized the view of the Thames from the Privy Garden. Henry VIII's Mount Garden. Before the garden you see today, this was the site of Henry VIII's Mount Garden. He enjoyed the view of the River Thames from the splendid domed banqueting house built upon a tall mount, reached by a spiralling path. This even had a cellar to keep wine ready for the banquets. Today you can enjoy a similar Tudor garden recreated in the chapel court, of which we filmed earlier in this video. Escape route for a king. In 1647, during the English Civil Wars, Charles I was kept under house arrest at Hampton Court. However, he tricked his keeper and made a dramatic escape through the old Privy Gardens to the river. He was soon recaptured and later executed. Tudor screen, 1701. The flamboyant wrought iron screen at the bottom of the garden is the masterpiece of Jean Tudor, a master blacksmith who had fled religious persecution in France. His ironwork can be seen throughout the formal gardens and inside the palace. He was never paid for his work. The Tudor screen displays the symbols of the four kingdoms ruled by William III. England's rose, Scotland's thistle, Ireland's harp, and the fleur-de-lis for territory in France are picked out in gold leaf. Historic royal palaces carefully conserve and maintain the screen, repainting its original grey colour and reinstating the gilding. William III's Baroque masterpiece. The garden was designed for William III and is made up of English-style beds with intricate patterns cut into the turf and filled with coloured gravels. These are framed with plates bandes, narrow borders displaying topiary bulbs and annuals. The original elm bower was planted in 1690 as a shady walk for William's wife, Mary II, and her ladies. Privy Garden restoration. By the 19th century, the Privy Garden had become an overgrown retreat for Hampton Court's grace and favour residents. In 1995, historic royal palaces restored it to its Baroque glory after archaeologists uncovered the layout of William III's flower beds. The gardeners follow the original planting lists. Hello folks, today is day 3 and we're at Hampton Court Palace.
We are, yeah, it's just over there. We're sat in one of the gardens, surrounded by bees.
Yeah, bees either side of us. It's an interesting place, isn't it?
It's massive, it's massive, huge.
It is huge and there's a lot of it you don't get to go around.
Blatantly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've scratched the surface, really haven't.
What do you think to it?
I was a little bit disappointed. Because, like you say, it's so big, you don't get to see a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's got a strange feel to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, sad feel maybe.
Sad, agitated, edgy, unsettled feel.
And I think they let too many people in.
Yeah, I think they're doing that with a lot of these places.
I think obviously they want to get the revenue in, don't they? And a lot of them, the cards like ourselves, where you've paid an annual fee and you can come as many times as you like. They've got a kiddies play area that we didn't realise was a kiddies play area.
And then we got told off. You're not coming in here.
It's like we just thought it's called Magical Garden. Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah. Magical Garden sounds fantastic. And no, it's a kiddies play area. It didn't really say that in the signs. It just says Magical Garden. So that was quite amusing. So yeah, we didn't go in there.
Yeah. Strange old place. It seems to have an effect on children as well.
Yeah, they're wappy.
The amount of children that are just absolutely off the rails here today is untrue.
I don't know if it's the play area. Well, obviously we've not been in, so we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But it may send them wappy. I don't know.
It's sad because I didn't realise they've actually knocked down a lot of the old Tudor building to make way for the new, and it's just. I don't know what people are thinking when they do stuff like that, because now it's like, whose building would you rather see? The building of the Tudors, Henry VIII, or William of Orange, was it? But then another...
William III, wasn't it? And then, obviously, the Georges took over after them. Was it this William III bit then, was it?
Yeah.
Or did the Georges build any of it?
William did.
William did, yeah. So, yeah. And it's all very grand, the newer bit.
Yeah.
But there's no fanciness, there's no nice ceilings, there's no nice painting on the ceilings, there's no ornateness. It's just all very big and very, well, you could say grand, but it's grand because it's big, I'd have said. I mean, there's loads of paintings and stuff. I think there's Rembrandt, isn't there? I can't remember which one it is now. It's somebody's mother. I don't think it's Whistler's mother.
Yeah.
I think that's something else. But yeah, there's a famous Rembrandt in there, which we can't photograph, so I've not shown you. I can maybe try and find a picture and whack it in somewhere. Maybe go ping if I can.
Yeah, it's yeah, you can try. I bet you can't.
No, ping ping.
Oh, but yeah, it's interesting. It's it's a lot different than when I first came. I've got to admit, when I first came, there was more ambience. Everywhere you looked, there was a reenactment going on, and there was people in fancy dressed as Anne Boleyn, dressed as all the wives. There was a really good Henry VIII here. It just seemed to have more Tudor ambience, whereas now it's like they're really cutting back, but they're also using it to make lots of money. Like when you came, we couldn't film the scene coming down towards the palace because they've got a concert here, so they've packed all the lorries, and it's like, well, that's ruined it, hasn't it?
Yeah, so you can't do the iconic shot coming in. You can't get into one of the big courtyards because it's now an arena.
Yeah.
Or there's an arena under construction. So yeah, that was no fun, is it? And it's quite noisy. Which is, maybe they could have waited till Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems. Obviously, it's going to take them a week to get it done, more than likely.
Yeah.
And as ever, you can't find anywhere quiet, so we're getting photobombed in the background.
Yeah, it's just strange.
But yeah, so yeah, we've tried to find a quiet spot. We wanted to get one with the castle in the background, but it was not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance, unfortunately.
I didn't realise there was a fire in 1986 that actually damaged a lot of the King's apartments. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
And also, when they did the new build, they knocked so much of the Tudor building down, so you kind of feel it. I feel it when you walk in that there's so much of it missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's changed a lot, I think, compared to when I mean, when would I have visited? In the noughties? Around about 2008.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the gymnastics that's happening behind us.
Where?
It's like when his nieces were in Harewood House, somebody's doing cartwheels behind us.
Yeah.
Like I say, you can't get away from Joe Public, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a real agitated, narcissistic feel to it as well, isn't there? It's like they're not just taking pictures, they're posing big time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just no boundaries, no respect, no anything.
We'll cut that little bit out.
Yeah.
This is just ridiculous.
Has anybody else noticed that when they go away anywhere now, everyone's just a raving narcissist?
Mm.
Have you noticed
Yeah.
that? I said to you, didn't I? I said, you know, when you look back to our pictures in the 90s and the 80s, and for you guys, you know, the 70s, 60s, 50s, everyone just sat there and smiled. And now, it's like really posing, being obtrusive like that. Just horrible. I will be glad to get out tonight, actually, to be honest. I think because it's got this Tudor energy to it, people are just getting hyped up with it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, boss. People just...
I've never... the last time I experienced something like this was on that Loch Ness boat trip. And it's weird.
If I saw somebody with a tripod and it looked like they were doing some kind of video, I'd give them a little bit of a wide berth. I just wouldn't walk straight behind them. Start talking on the phone. It's quite amusing. Hey ho, what are you going to do? Oh, we've got the chimes.
Yeah, the chimes. 3.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Very interesting. It's interesting how this place is affecting people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of bickering going on.
Yeah, you've said that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of bickering.
Married couples bickering.
Couples bickering.
Children squealing, and I mean squealing, and running wild. And there's just a weird feel throughout the whole place.
I don't know if it's the energy of what everybody thinks that Henry VIII is some kind of butcher or, you know what I mean, kills half of his wives.
Yeah.
But when you listen to the story, it's not as bad as you really first think. You've got to hear from both sides of it, haven't you, really? I don't want to jump on his, you know, some of the stuff he did was quite horrific.
Do you not think, though, that a lot of it's been taken out of context to sell books? And a lot of it's been exaggerated. I mean, look at what's happening now with current royals. We look at our own social media and our own news and our own writers and journalists that put these headlines out, and you go buy the book, or you buy the article, or you watch the video, or you buy the piece of paper, and it's nothing really. And I'm not saying the Henry VIII wasn't nothing, but...
No, what I was trying to say is... did I come across you?
It's just a strange feeling here.
There we go, this is the kind of energy we're picking.
Honestly, it's horrible. It's not like a spooky feeling. I'd actually prefer that. And that sounds weird. It's a real... Yeah.
Yeah, we just seem to be unsynced, but it seems to unsync you. Yeah. And we're not as syncing as usually.
Yeah, it's an unsyncing energy. It's taking people out of sync with each other.
Usually we can bounce on these videos, and I'm struggling to work out when to come in. But yeah, I was thinking about Henry VIII and the story, and he was a man of his time, and the king was expected to have a son. Now, he was married for, 20 years?
Yeah.
For his first wife?
Yeah.
Didn't get a son. And then suddenly, he meets Anne Boleyn. She promises him a son. And she regained on that promise.
You've just said it.
You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? She allegedly promised that he would have a son. Now, he didn't have a son. He had the next Queen of England. In theory. Who was, you know, probably more masculine than a lot of the kings we've had.
Yeah.
So maybe she did give him what he wanted, because Queen Elizabeth I was quite possibly one of the best monarchs we've ever had.
Yeah.
Especially when at a time when we needed to see off the Spanish. So maybe she did give him the son, and he just didn't see it. He wasn't clever enough to see that Elizabeth would become that son that he was so coveting.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, as a man of his time, he got miffed off because she didn't fulfil his promise. I don't know.
Well, I made a good point, didn't I? I said, you didn't really get this place until with Anne Boleyn, really. And they do claim that he was a much more settled, happier king. And I wonder if it's something here that spiralled him. He
didn't move here with his first wife, did he?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
No, but I missed that bit, to be honest, I've got to admit. But yeah, that makes sense, that if he moved here near the latter part of his marriage, that's where it all started going wrong. Here.
Yeah.
Possibly. That's where it all happened, wasn't it? We're back.
The weirdest thing keeps happening. That's the third time now we've tried to do this video. You know, since the last time we tried filming, the sun has just blaringly come out.
It's hot, isn't it?
It's blasting us now.
So
Do you know, I can't remember the last time I actually felt sun like I'm feeling right now.
It's warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like being under the grill.
Yeah.
But we're back. We've had so many troubles with this video. It's ridiculous. People walking right behind us.
Up there.
Memory issues. That's not me, that's the camera.
The camera keeps going weird.
Yeah. No matter how much photos I'm deleting from the camera, it's saying I've got no memory, which is bizarre. I've been hoarding, but that's a different matter. But we should have been enough.
If you think what that means for the slander, though, that I don't think it can take much more. I think it's been too peopleised, this, and I'm really feeling that. But it's almost like it's wanting to push people out. It don't want you to have a nice family day here. It wants to cause havoc. Because I think it's gone too much the other way.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Strange place.
Yes.
Have any of you been to Hampton Court? What did you feel? Oh, God, honestly.
Sorry, somebody else is coming. Let's see where they go. This is just as a laugh. Are they going to walk nowhere near us, or are they going to walk straight to where we are? Nope. They've actually been pleasant and walking behind us, I think. Shall we wrap this video up?
Yes, let's wrap it up. Anyway, it's been... yesterday, it's the evening. We didn't do a wrap-up, did we? We went for a gin and tonic at a pub just out the front called... where the Six Wives G&T?
The Swan, the
Yeah.
White Swan, the Mute Swan, I think it is. Something like that.
Very nice.
Extraordinarily expensive.
Yeah, and they went back for... Yeah, how much was it?
£15 each.
Just for 2 drinks.
Yeah. No, we didn't get a meal with it. It didn't include a steak dinner.
Yeah, they went back and had some Italian meats, some salad, and chilled for the rest of the evening. Trying to get these vlogs sorted and uploaded, because that's taking some time.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
I think so. You might see these in about 7 years. No, about a week or so.
Yeah, to wrap this up, not to be a Debbie Downer, it's interesting. It is what it is here. I think the Tudor bit seems, for me, more interesting. I think if you come in, bring a pack up. There's lots of places to have a picnic, lots of places around the fountain and the lake. The eating areas in this place, especially the main cafe, are wired. They're just, the energy's really...
It is
really
quite close
weird.
to the kids' play area.
Yeah,
though,
and
isn't
it's
it?
not a place to have a nice quiet meal. So if I were you, if I could come here again, I'd bring a nice picnic.
Yeah.
Bring a book so you can go off somewhere quiet and relax. And know when to go into the hub of it and when to come out of the hub of it. Yeah.
Don't go early doors. Don't go when it opens.
Yeah, because that was another issue as well. Everyone just dived in. Yeah.
Luckily, we found the coffee shop inside the place was open, so we managed to hide in there for 20 minutes, and it just calmed down enough, didn't it?
Yeah.
Still busy, but it calmed down enough from that first lot of people just coming over the threshold.
I'd be tempted to also come without children.
That's difficult though, because there's a massive kids' play area, isn't there?
Yeah, true. Because I think it does affect them here.
Possibly. I don't know. It is what it is, isn't it? There's some lovely calming parts of it.
Yeah, this is a nice little area.
Yeah, a nice peaceful area. Doesn't seem to be attracting that much footfall. Probably people just passing through rather than coming here on purpose, as it were. But out of the 3 castles, palaces we've been to, this is probably the worst.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I think Hever was the best, and then Windsor was Windsor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If we'd have managed to see the King leave for...
I know, we was told that. We did see Lady Frederick though, Lady Frederick Windsor. And we did see a dame, somebody dame so-and-so, can't remember.
Yeah, it were from Strictly Come Dancing, wasn't it? It was your JoJo dancer, one or two.
We saw the roll carriages come back from Ascot. We saw the roll cars come back from Ascot.
But we missed them going.
Empty though, empty. Interesting place. What got me about Windsor was the fact that everything just seems to run to precision. And it's just, for although Windsor's a hive of activity, this is here, but it's strange. It's strange here, isn't it?
So it seems more structured at Windsor, doesn't it?
Do you know what? It's the same company that runs the tower. And didn't we say that the tower felt strange? I said I've been to the tower in previous years and it didn't feel like it did.
Yeah, I think they're both being run the same, aren't they? So it's bums on seats, I think.
Yeah.
And they know they can get them because they're two big places,
Oh, wait, you know, sorry.
You know, they're two massive tourist attractions, and they're always going to get bums on seats. But I think they're getting too many. And I've never been a big fan of the timed entries and stuff, but I think places like this need it.
Yeah.
I really do. Just to keep the numbers down. And they almost need to do one out, one in.
Yeah.
And I've only a certain number of people in these places. It's quite a big place, so people can spread out, but all the good stuff's quite together. Yeah. If that makes sense. So unless you like all the peaceful gardens and things like that, which we do, luckily, you're going to struggle. So yeah. Yeah. All in all, I think Hever Castle was the best.
Hever Castle was the best.
I think that is a lovely place to visit. Yeah. Lovely energy. This is, well,
yeah,
it speaks for itself. Anne Boleyn's birthplace to Anne Boleyn's death place.
I think this place, with the history itself, that it's not going to be a land of zen, is it? This place.
No.
It's been a place of a lot of pain for all its people, I think. Even Henry himself. So it's not going to be a place of tranquility and peacefulness, is it?
No. Another cut out. We're back.
Yeah, it cut out again, so we're going to stop.
We're going to stop
and move on.
We'll see you on the next video.
We'll see you later. Bye.
If you like this, put a crown, subscribe, all the other great things.
Yeah. Let us know you found Hampton Court. Thanks for watching.
If we cut off again, we're gone.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
So long. Bye.